have a look at that. It's miles up. Oh, it's nearly taken someone out in the stands. That was a flat six right under the stand there, the George Giffen stand, up into the members.
In today's volume of CRIQAZI Diaries, I have a guest today, my really good friend Hatib Khan, aka Malik, who's from Reading, UK, and also happens to captain a team for one of Reading's clubs. And we'll be breaking down Pakistan's humiliating loss to a makeshift England ODI 11. और आराम से इस दफा सुकून से बात करते हैं, सारी चीजें कवर करते हैं. So, let's go. हाँ जी मलिक, तो सबसे पहले बात करते हैं पाकिस्तान की bowling effort की and the combination. आते सार शाहीन एंड हसन स्ट्रक 21 for 2 कर दिया था इंग्लैंड को, मगर वहां से फिर जरा गेम थोड़ी फिसल गई. इंग्लैंड got to 100 for 2 in 13.3 overs, और वही जो उनकी ओएन मॉर्गन की जो फिलॉसफी है तेज खेलने की, जो अटैकिंग ब्रांड ऑफ फील्डलेस क्रिकेट है उनकी, उनने वो खेली. और जब तक हमारे स्पिनर नहीं आए साउथ शकील और शादाब, तब तक रन रेट तो बहुत इधर उधर जा रहा था. उनने आकर थोड़ी ब्रेक्स डाली और फिर हसन ने आकर अपने दूसरे स्पेल में 3 क्विक विकेट्स लेकर 160 for 7 किया. तो मैं ये पूछना चाहता हूं कि अब शाहीन और हसन तो हमारे अच्छे बॉलर्स हैं, मगर डू यू फील कि जो जो सपोर्ट स्टाफ है उनका, जो बाकी सारे बॉलर्स हैं, वो आर दे डूइंग इनफ टू सपोर्ट देम?
Absolutely not. I think that's where the game sort of slipped away, because as you mentioned, the run rate उनका तकरीबन 7.5 पे जा रहा था. So even though there was early wickets, Hassan was bowling really well, Shaheen was doing really well, so he got unlucky a few times. Lekin, the first change, second change, they couldn't really keep up with the opening spell of the opening bowlers, and that's where we lacked until Babar brought back Hassan and he got some more wickets again. The game was just slipping away. 7.5 per over, quick 100 out, absolutely. That they went nowhere.
हाँ, तो agreeing with your point, इसमें मैं 2-3 और points जरा बताना चाहता हूँ कि एक तो मैंने अपनी पिछली वीडियो में बोला था, I'm not sold on Hassan Ali as a new ball bowler. Even though he picked up a wicket today, you saw his best when he came in later. अपने middle over spell में जो उसने mayhem create किया, it was a flashback to 2017 जब Champions Trophy जीता था पाकिस्तान. So I think that's where he is best used. और new ball में हसन थोड़ा पिट भी जाता है, और मैं मतलब even though he got a wicket today, मैं इतना sold नहीं हूँ. और फिर first change पे जब दोनों फहीम अशरफ और हारिस रऊफ आए, it was short and wide and it was wavered, और बहुत ज्यादा उनने जो pressure build up हुआ था पहले, वो they sprayed their deliveries और वो सारा lose हो गया. तो मेरे ख्याल से वहाँ पे that's an area of concern for Pakistan, and we definitely need to work there.
As much as I'm a fan of Haris Rauf, I think it's a bit of a letdown, and the way we have been bringing him up is keeping him a T20 specialist, which is wrong. I don't know if it's the coaching staff or the management, but they absolutely need to work hard on a bowler of his caliber, because at this point what he's doing is he doesn't think he's bowling 10 overs. From the looks of it seems like he knows he has 4 overs, he has to get something done. That's why it's short and wide and he's going all over the place. In between, you'll see one good delivery, but that's not the bowler you want to be using in ODIs. So maybe, not the best option at the moment.
And when you think about Haris Rauf, of course you think about death bowling, and he is really good in the death. आज भी आकर he was phenomenal. उसने दोनों विकेटें भी ले ली, और मतलब end में his figures read 9 overs 2 for 54, which aren't awful. मगर वो जो period था शुरू में, वहाँ आकर इसने बहुत ज़्यादा runs खाए हैं. मैं तो बिल्कुल भी impressed नहीं था, and that's where I'm like thinking कि अब क्या combination होना चाहिए. देखो, हसन अली से अगर new ball नहीं करानी, तो या तो आप फहीम अशरफ से new ball कराओ. The only other option you have is कि आप हारिस रऊफ को बिठाकर फिर हसनैन खिलाओ और हसनैन से new ball कराओ. इसके अलावा तो हमारे पास कोई ऑप्शंस हैं भी नहीं. या नवाज से न्यू बॉल करा सकते हो, मगर ये सीमिंग कंडीशंस हैं, तो आई थिंक नवाज को यहाँ पे यूज नहीं करना चाहिए, इवन दो ओरिजिनली मुझे लगता था कि करना चाहिए. बट आई थिंक आइदर यू ओपन द इनिंग्स, बॉलिंग इनिंग्स विद फहीम, और यू प्ले हसनैन इंस्टेड ऑफ हारिस रऊफ. बिकॉज अगर इसने आखिरी 4 ओवरों में ही हमें कुछ देना है हारिस रऊफ ने, तो फिर क्या 50 ओवरों वाली गेम में अभी आई एम नॉट फुली कन्विंस्ड. कैन ही कट इट और नॉट? आई रियली डोंट नो.
My idea would be not to open with Fahim, because again, I do rate him as an all-rounder, but not good enough to be opening the bowling. You need a specialist, someone who is a specialist bowler with the new ball, and Hassan is the one who needs to be given a shot now. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think I could go with that. I could definitely replace Rauf with Hassan in the last ODI and open the bowling with him. Or then Hassan can go back to his middle overs bowling and death bowling. So I think that would work out. कुछ positives भी थे पाकिस्तान की bowling में. Of course, we saw Shadab finally having a good spell. 10 overs, 1 for 46. उसने runs भी choke किए, and what a beautiful googly to get rid of James Vince. मजा आ गया वो तो देख के. बाकी साउथ शकील 3 overs 1 for 14, got his first ODI wicket, has that part-time left arm off-spin option. मैं तो काफी impressed था. I really like what I saw, and I think ये part-time option हमारे लिए going into the future बड़ी अच्छी है.
It's really good. It competes with the likes of Nawaz, who's in the squad as well. Was also a really good all-rounder. Lekin Shakil just showed what he can do, and he got his first 50 and bowled 3 overs really well. So he's good. He's warranted spot in the side. And Shadab, of course, that was a classic Shadab wicket. It was good to see that he's getting back on track. I think he's been working really hard, and he still has a lot more work to do. But it's good. He's heading in the right direction.
Acha ji. So one last thing I want to talk about the bowling, which is perhaps the most important thing, and where I think the game was lost, is when Hassan Ali struck with 3 wickets and we had Pakistan had England for at 160 for 7. वहां से हम लोगों ने अगली विकेट 8th विकेट जो है गिरी है, it was at 229. तो वहां पे पाकिस्तान को गेम किल कर देनी चाहिए थी. Under 200 इंग्लैंड को आउट करना चाहिए था, and they would have comfortably chased it down. मगर वहां पे I think they lost the plot. जो है लुइस ग्रेगरी और ब्राइडन कार्स, उन्होंने फिर काफी हमारी पिटाई की है वहां पे, and I think they took the game away from us over there. By the time we got them out, it was too late, and England should have never gotten to 247 in my opinion, and I think that was absolute turning point of the game.
It's credit to them. They batted well. They took it deep, and I think you could see it on that mindset that they're mentally quite strong as well. Just because they had wickets down, they still played the game. They played the shots, and frankly, the bowling was feeding that in as well. There was nothing too threatening at that time. They had the luxury to play their shots, and they did. They saw it, and that's bad on our part. We should have gone for the kill at the time, tried something different, tried something out of the box, maybe a odd change, someone who hasn't bowled, just to rattle them, maybe get a catch, maybe get something off. But we just kept feeding that, to be honest, and hoping one of these bowlers would strike.
In our next section, I want to talk about Saqib Mahmood. Malik, I've been really, really impressed. I think he's the sort of player England have unearthed an absolute gem. I think he can represent them in all 3 formats in the future. But white ball cricket, mein, I think he can be a part of England's first string T20 and ODI teams. He's an athletic guy. He's got a lovely action. He's got a lot of pace. 90 pe kara raha tha kafi zyada consistently. And then he can move it both ways. He's definitely got Babar Azam's number in this series. Pehle ODI mein duck pe Babar ko out kiya, and he shaped the ball away from Babar, drawing an edge. And then in the second ODI, and Babar was in really good touch too, he brought it back in and caught him LBW, and he was absolutely dead. So I'm really impressed by Saqib Mahmood. I think he has an amazing future ahead of him. What is your take?
Absolutely agree, and I don't think I can praise him enough for someone who's played these 2 games. And just to touch on that point you mentioned about him moving it both ways, you could actually see that in today's game. So you got Babar's wicket with 1 moving in, and then he got Rizwan with 1 moving out. So it's just class bowling from him, and I think this is someone we're going to see for many years to come, to be honest, because given how James Anderson and Stuart Broad are going, they would be looking at younger talent who can take up that mantle and go for a number of years. So I think we've just seen the birth of a big English bowler, to be honest.
मैं exactly यही सोचा था कि even if this was England's first string team, तो जो David Willey थे, और Chris Stokes definitely would have caused Pakistan trouble. He always does. Stokes का तो काम है पाकिस्तान को bowling और batting दोनों में मारने का. But I think apart from Stokes, he was definitely better than any other of those bowlers that they have, like Tom Curran or David Willey, even Sam Curran. I think this guy's got, अगर ये 5 और clicks डाल दे अपने अंदर तो ये तो बहुत lethal हो जाएगा यार. Like already he's really hard to play because he's nippy, he's pacey, and then he moves it both ways. तो इसमें अगर तुम 90 को 93 कर दो तो फिर तो बस. I think Saqib Mahmood will go a long way.
Yeah, and I think the way he started, adding 5Ks, it is a lot of hard work. And I think he'll manage it. He'll be able to do it. And amazing. The best sort of start. He got Babar Azam in successive matches, which is big for any bowler.
World number one ODI batsman.
Absolutely.
It's
so that's credit to him. He's bowled really well. And yeah.
Okay, I think we've talked enough about Saqib, so let's move on to the next section. Next up is Pakistan's batting woes, not only in this game but the whole series. I'd say pehle wale ODI mein we got all out at 141, and now 195 in a game which they really should have won. Like modern day cricket mein 247 chase करना इतना मुश्किल नहीं है. पहले 10 ओवरों में सीम हो रहा था बॉल, मगर उसके बाद इस तरह की विकेट नहीं थी कि आप बस खेल ही ना पाओ. तो आहिस्ता आहिस्ता एक एक कर करना सारे बैट्समैन की बात करते हैं. सबसे पहले तो आ जाओ जी ओपनर्स पे. इमामुल हक, He was good versus South Africa, got a 50 odd, got an 80 odd in that series. तो दो अच्छे scores थे, हम series भी जीते. मगर यहाँ पे आकर fail कर गया दोनों matches में, a duck and one, so he scored 1 run in 2 games. And then I just didn't like the way he was dismissed. Like पहले 10 ओवर अगर आप निकाल लेते, विकेट ना गिराते, तो आगे रन ज्यादा नहीं थे. Could have easily chased it with wickets in hand. But he was again fishing outside off. Or how many times have we seen Imam lose his wicket this way? Either this or LBW.
Exactly, and he hasn't been working much on his game. Like, fine, he got the runs in South Africa, but that's I wouldn't credit that a lot. You know, in going into the series, he's done nothing. He's absolutely the first match, the way he got out. We've seen that dismissal over and over again. You know, he misses that flick, and it's too early to flick anyways. It's the first over, set your eye and see where the ball is. Just stop with the straight bat, just the basics. And then today's dismissal, there was no need for that. He could have left that, and if anything, if you want to stop it, then be in command enough to stop it. But yeah, it's utterly disappointing for my mom.
So tell me this, would you play him in the third ODI? I mean, I think even though he has failed, I certainly would, because 4 साल के करियर में उसने काफी वनडे खेले हैं. वनडे उसका फॉर्मेट है, and he has averaged over 50. ठीक है, 2 दफा फेल हो गया, but I think उसको तीसरा तो मेरे हिसाब से खिलाना चाहिए मैच.
In this series, I'm not fully on board, but I think looking at the alternatives, I might just give him the third game.
Okay. Let's move on to Fakhar Zaman. Very bad innings today by Fakhar. मतलब it was painful to watch. 10 runs, 45 balls. बिल्कुल भी टाइम नहीं हो रही थी Fakhar से. He had a good game. 47 किया था पिछले मैच में, and then South Africa series वाली series में तो he was phenomenal. मगर फखर की ये sometimes he gets stuck and it goes into his shell, और वो प्रेशर साथ साथ बढ़ता रहता है. फिर ये जब 10 रन बनाकर 45 बॉल्स में आउट होता है, तो फिर आने वाले लोगों को भी प्रेशर बढ़ जाता है यार, क्योंकि स्कोर कोई होता नहीं है, विकेटें गिर गई होती हैं. So this is a bit concerning for me. Like rotation of strikes seems to be an issue for Fakhar when he's not on song.
Absolutely, and you know, 45 balls or 44 that he faced, it's not like that's run. बिल्कुल उसकी game ही नहीं है. It's out of character for him to be this way. So I'm quite surprised he actually lasted for this long. वरना ये तो पहले ही out हो जाता. The way, you know, he wasn't in his sort of momentum at all. Lekin, you know, he's been getting runs. He's, you know, last game he was the only one who held the innings together. So definitely give him another chance.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, even if he fails in the third ODI, I'm not dropping Fakhar. He will come good. But yeah, I was like hoping that he starts, like he gets going today, but that didn't happen, and that ultimately did build a lot of pressure on Pakistan, or was one of the reasons why this was such a miserable chase. Acha ji, let's go to Babar Azam. I don't think we need to waste much time on Babar. I mean, he was looking amazing today. एक जो उसने वो straight drive मारी थी यार, I swear to God, I could watch replays of that all day. He looked in sublime touch, but unfortunately got a really good delivery from Saqib. So Babar gets a pass, even though he जब से वो number 1 ODI batsman बना है, he hasn't really delivered the goods, and I don't think we've ever seen Babar Azam fail 2 games in a row.
Yeah, definitely a first, but it's more hurtful when you think about it that, you know, England put this team together literally in no time, within 2 days' notice. So, you know, again, credit to Saqib again. We've discussed him previously, but still, you're Babar Azam, and you've been, you know, on top of your game. And the 4-4s, all of them were amazing. Even that flick towards leg, he just middled it and it ran off to the boundary. So I just expect more from him, and I feel like, you know, everything else is putting a pressure on him, which is affecting his batting, but we can get to that later.
I mean, I don't think I would actually counter argument with you over there. I think captaincy has definitely improved Babar's batting, but khair, still early days, वो तो देखी जाएगी. आ जाते हैं number 4 पे, रिजवान. अच्छा, I'm a big fan of Mohammad Rizwan. जितनी इस बंदे ने अपनी गेम उठाई है, he's leveled up so much in 1 year that now he's one of your most important batsmen. और मतलब ठीक है, इसके numbers हर format में बुरे थे. ODIs में still he averages around 27 something, so he needs to improve over there. मगर T20 और Test cricket में तो he's proven that he is a mainstay. ODI cricket में भी I wouldn't give up on Rizwan yet. He's in a rich vein of form, but I think you're playing him at the wrong number. रिजवान को 4 पे नहीं बनता. मूविंग बॉल के खिलाफ आज वो आया तो he looked completely at sea. और दूसरी बात ये कि टेस्ट क्रिकेट में we've seen Rizwan bat amazingly well with the tail. He's the man for a crisis. और उसको टेल को खिलाना आता है, and that's an art. It takes a certain kind of knowledge to know how to play with the tail and make them tick. Like नोमान अली से उसने कितने रन्स करवा लिए, और मतलब पाकिस्तान की टेल ने कितना अच्छा परफॉर्म किया टेस्ट सीरीज में साउथ अफ्रीका के खिलाफ. So I think Rizwan is being wasted at 4, और उसको अगर आप 6 पे ले जाओ तो सुहेब मकसूद को आप 4 पे लेकर आ सकते हो, जो कह रहे हैं इंटरव्यूज में कि मुझे टॉप ऑर्डर में खिलाओ, मैं टॉप ऑर्डर का बैट्समैन हूं. सो आई डोंट गेट इट. लाइक अगर आपने उसको चांस देना है, इफ यू वांट टू ट्राई सुहेब मकसूद आउट, देन गिव हिम अ शॉट इन द टॉप 4. बाबर के बाद मकसूद आए, एंड देन आई थिंक that is the batting order shuffle that we really need. South can stay at 5 and then Rizwan can come at 6. What do you say?
I would disagree with that because the thing is, when you think of your number 4 batsman, you're not going to think he's going to be batting there in the first 10 or 12 overs anyways. So the collapse that we've been having with the batters early on getting dismissed, पहले मैच में भी इस मैच में भी जल्दी विकेट्स गिरी हैं, ठीक है, तो he's been going sooner than he should have. But ideally नंबर 4 आप एक्सपेक्ट नहीं करोगे कि जाके मूविंग बॉल को खेल रहा होगा. लेकिन अगेन I would keep him in that position if he's in the team, ठीक है, क्योंकि उसकी पोजीशन बाबर के बाद बनती है. He's been getting runs in tests, T20s में भी अच्छे फॉर्म में है, लेकिन I feel like कि वो T20 माइंडसेट ही रख रहा है. Like he's not figuring it out कि ODI is the middle format. 50
वो तो पूरी टीम को मसला हो रहा है मेरे ख्याल से. वो टेस्ट के माइंडसेट और T20 के माइंडसेट में ही रहते हैं, बीच वाला उनसे पकड़ा नहीं जा रहा. बट नो, आई मीन ठीक है, you're entitled to your own opinion, but I think Rizwan is being wasted at 4. और मतलब I think वो नीचे नंबर 6 पे like एक तो बैटिंग with the tail is a bonus for him, और दूसरा यार अब तो वो he has proven to us in T20 cricket that he can hit sixes. तो आप नीचे उसको लेकर आओगे तो उन मैचेस में जब आपको फायर पावर चाहिए हो नीचे, he's a busy batsman. He can, वो जो उसने एक फाइन लेग पे छक्का देता है, I think he's made that shot his very own. So yeah, I think he'd be better utilized there. But then Sohaib Maqsood, wonderful PSL, scored a lot of runs, was one of the main reasons why Multan ended up lifting the trophy. I think he fully deserves his comeback in the team. Even though शुरू में मैंने उसकी जगह नवाज खिलाया था for more bowling depth, but Saud Shakil ने वो pocket fill कर दी है. So I think Maqsood should play. But I think Maqsood should play at 4, man. You're wasting him down the order. अगर वो खुद confident है top order में perform करने के लिए, अगर domestic में उसकी performances top order में, I think that's where you play him.
No, but the thing is, not looking at these players out of form, but looking at an in-form Rizwan and looking at an in-form Sohaib Maqsood. Do you rate Maqsood as a better batsman than Rizwan?
I do not, but I do think that he can provide that counter punch at number 4. और दूसरी बात ये है कि counter punch की बात कर लेते हैं. These 19s that he scored are good enough for T20 cricket, but can he cut it in ODI cricket? मतलब लंबा मैच है, आपको आपके साथ छक्के नहीं मारने, आपको थोड़ी गेम भी डीप लेकर जानी होती है. रोटेशन ऑफ स्ट्राइक, अब he was so lazy running, वो तो मुझे लगता है बल्कि थक गया था जितने उससे पिछले ओवर में साउथ शकील ने रन भगवाए हैं. That's where the lazy shot came from, which was an absolutely ugly dismissal. बहुत दुख हुआ देख के, especially at a time where we were consolidating and building a partnership. जरूरत थी हमें मकसूद की तब. So yeah, I'm not entirely sold, but I do think that you should play him in the last ODI because he's proven his worth in the PSL. But bat him at 4. That for me, he bats at 4.
Yeah, I mean, I could see him bat at 4, but then I wouldn't expect him to have a long innings, which is what I would be hoping for, sending someone at number 4. And I see that potential and promise in someone like Rizwan who gets going, will give you a big innings. Maqsood, again, he is good, and I want him on the side. But at number 4, I feel like he will have a nice flashy innings, and then he's going to be back out. And we don't need a flashy innings. We need someone to bat out the overs.
Yeah, and there's nothing to prove otherwise based on the evidence that we have. जब से वापस आया, it's just he hits beautiful, बहुत बड़े-बड़े लंबे छक्के मारता है, मजेदार किस्म के. आज भी hook pick दिया है. But yeah, like you've got to score more runs, man. ये 19s आपके T20 में चल जाएंगे, ODI में नहीं चल सकते. Saud Shakil, I've been waiting to talk about Saud Shakil, man. I'm a fan. मुझे तो पसंद आ गया बच्चा. Very very compact innings. अपनी limitations उसको पता है, उसके अंदर खेलता है. Grounded strokes. Risk free, seems like the sort of person who can build an innings. और इस तरह के बंदे को इस तरह के प्लेयर को पाकिस्तान की जरूरत है मिडिल ऑर्डर में. I think हमने बहुत ज्यादा स्लॉगर्स को अपॉर्चुनिटी दे दी, and Saud Shakil definitely earns his spot. Domestic में fantastic numbers. Had a really good game today. He was the only Pakistani batsman who wanted to take it deep and was taking the singles and rotating strike, which is all that we needed today. Looks like only Saud Shakil got the memo. And then उसने जो 3 ओवर कराए हैं for 14 runs and 1 wicket, I think ज़्यादा ओवर भी करा सकते हैं in the future. You can use him on surfaces that turn more. And I really liked what I saw, and I think he can be a mainstay in Pakistan's ODI team, even potentially Test team in the future.
Absolutely, I agree. I liked what I saw as well. And I think bowling wala option jo hai, that's a really big plus for us. And that should be utilized more. Even though it was, sort of 3 over karwaye hain, lekin we really should see what this holds for us in terms of potential wise. Can he do a full 10-8? And if he can, I think we found a really, really good player. Batting wise, yeah, amazing. Safe, played all safe, ground shots and everything, and he went aerial as well. But solid.
बेचारा मतलब he got a little unlucky. That ball was there to be hit. He hit सही वाली shot खेली थी उसने, and you had to hit at that point. और
exactly, I was gonna say.
So I won't blame him for that at all. And I think that Saud Shakil को तो consistently opportunities दो, because he's 25 और lefties मुझे वैसे ही पसंद है, and he was compact. तुम लोग नोट करो कितने हमारे बैट्समैन एरियल शॉट्स मारकर आउट होते हैं, एंड साउथ शकील इवन दो ही डिड गेट आउट ऑन एन एरियल शॉट बट ही वाज रियली रिस्क फ्री क्रिकेट, और मतलब प्रेशर भी ही डिडंट सकम अंडर प्रेशर. सो आई थिंक पाकिस्तान शुड परसिस्ट विद हिम. अच्छा जी, टॉप 6 हो गए. नाउ लेट्स मूव ऑन टू शादाब. लुक्ड सो गुड टुडे. आई वाज रियली हर्ट बाय हिज डिसमिसल. क्या जरूरत थी फाइनल थर्ड मैन के ऊपर वो एक्सपेंसिव कट और व्हाट यू अपर कट मारने की, एंड कोई जरूरत नहीं थी. पाकिस्तान डिड नॉट नीड quick runs at that point. I think Shadab should have taken it deep, and lack of responsibility over there. He's the vice captain of the team. I was disappointed.
It's lack of maturity, to be honest. And as you said, he looked in good touch. Absolutely no need for what he did. Nothing justifies it. Even if you're in superb hitting, if you look at the wickets, the runs, the overs, you're the vice captain. You have to show some maturity and just stay in. You tell others what to do, and you yourself just try to hit it down third man.
And it wasn't a big ask, right? You needed run a ball, 100 something runs, partnership भी बन रही थी. So मेरे ख्याल से शादाब को ना थोड़ा और consistently बैटिंग करनी होगी, थोड़े बड़े स्कोर्स देने पड़ेंगे, आहिस्ता crucial clutch scores देने पड़ेंगे, and he's failed in 2 consecutive innings, even though he's gotten 51 runs in 2 innings, but I still think both of these were failures. Fahim Ashraf, horrible game. 6 overs, 45 runs, no wickets. Dropped a catch towards the end of the innings, and then he looked completely at bay, and the way he got out, he was absolutely schooled by Parkinson.
Well, in all honesty, that was a great take by Simpson. The way he moved when he read that, I think that's credit to the wicketkeeper. It's amazing. He tried to sweep. You wouldn't see many keepers doing what that keeper did. So that's credit to them. But yeah, Fahim is struggling. We've seen these outbursts with Fahim. He's gonna have a few good games, and then he's gonna have a few really bad games, which just jeopardizes your spot in the team.
He's quite hot and cold, I do agree, and we did see a lot of consistency from him across 3 formats last year, but this series I have not been impressed. Pehle ODI mein bhi dismiss ho gaya jaldi, and today we really needed him. We needed him to help take this game deep, and he failed again. So yes, I think he was potentially Pakistan's worst player today in the field, or he really needs to improve his क्या कहते हैं, he should improve his act, and I think कि if he doesn't consistently perform, जहाँ पे seaming tracks नहीं होंगे वहाँ पे इसकी जगह नवाज आ जाएगा टीम में for sure.
Yeah, बिल्कुल. I can see that happening, and that's not a bad option.
Yeah, but I like him. I think he's a good cricketer, और clutch runs इसने दिए पिछले साल में, so hopefully he comes back into form, and आखिरी ODI में he gets some runs and some wickets.
Needs more consistency. That's what he needs to work on. Yeah,
100%. अच्छा, so Hassan Ali आके उसने छक्के लगा दिए. All of a sudden I was like, oh my god, is Pakistan actually going to win this game? But then again, like यार, आपने स्पिनर के ओवर में 22 रन मार दिए. आपकी अगर रेंज में आपके स्लॉट में आती है तो मैं कहता हूँ go for it. Go try and hit a 6 that can potentially like provide that, rear guard innings, and you could win Pakistan the game. But then bouncer पे fast bowler के खिलाफ, not in his zone, हर बॉल पे छक्का तो नहीं लगा सकते आप. I was disappointed. He could have like थोड़ा composed रहता. He should have played with a little bit of composure, taken it deep. उस point पे run rate नीचे ले आया था ये. We only needed to run a ball then. I think Hassan रुक जाता तो पाकिस्तान मैच जीत सकता था.
Agreed. Like, the point is that if we're expecting Hassan to win us the game, that's slightly, unfair to ask of him as well.
I mean,
because he's a bowler. He came and he gave you this one big over, which is fine. Like in आजकल के time पे, these international stars, they have enough maturity to understand that, okay, our batting has collapsed. I just hit 22 runs. Maybe I can take this lever. We're not seeing that from anyone. So, Hassan should think about that. Like, and then again, I mean, how do you fault a bowler for getting out while trying to, smack a bouncer again?
I mean, he's a senior player in the squad now, so I just game awareness भी एक चीज होती है, so I wish he had that or more of that, and took the game deep. उसके लग गए थे छक्के, run rate और नहीं चाहिए थी, so he could have gotten a few singles here and there, rotated strikes. साथ आपके साउथ शकील खड़ा हुआ है, set batsman खड़ा हुआ है. तो आप पे थोड़ा और I think उसको थोड़ी और responsibility shoulder करनी चाहिए थी, and I know that's asking for a lot. He already had an amazing game. Lords के honors board पे भी आ गया with the 5-wicket haul and was amazing with the ball. But yeah, I was disappointed because I really think that he's a batsman with a lot of potential. इसके अंदर मुझे वो spark नजर आता है कि ये proper all-rounder consider हो सकता है in a few years or maybe even now. Like in the Quaid-e-Azam Trophy final, he scored 100 और वो tie हुआ था match eventually. So I think I just expect more from Hassan, and I think it was a bit irresponsible today.
I think your point about Shakil being at the other end is spot on. If you have someone like him who's set in and you're in there with him, you shouldn't be doing what you did. Yeah. Absolutely.
अच्छा, I guess I do want to talk about Shaheen Afridi's batting. वो जो उसने composure दिखाया, it's like he knew the game plan. He wanted to take the game deep. He was taking singles. He was giving strike to South Shakil. Shaheen, I'm liking the way he's developing into a cricketer. Bowler, तो we all know how good a bowler he is. But now if he can provide some help with the bat as well, जिस तरह आज वो तकरीबन कर गया था, मेरे ख्याल से he did a great job. I wanted that kind of sensibility from the others, in fact. So I think we got to give Shaheen credit for that innings, and I think he's blooming into a fine cricketer.
Agreed. I was going to say that after watching him get out in the first game, it was slightly disappointing because he was just having a slog at everything. But today he completely turned it around. So I guess he got that criticism and he worked on it, and he stayed there. He supported Shakil till he could, which was brilliant on his part.
And just before I end this section, I want to talk about the batting approach in general. We've spoken about this before a little earlier कि या तो आप बिल्कुल shell में चले जाते हैं ये लोग. They block it out and build pressure, and then when they lose their wicket, not only do they put the other person, the batsman on the other end in pressure, also the batsman coming in. And then Pakistan, we've seen this time and again. We've done this so often. We don't play a lot of ODI cricket now. It's not very frequent. This is an area of concern for me. Either they go gung-ho or they just go into their shell. They need to find that middle ground and pace their innings properly in ODI cricket. And that's where I think we actually, if we did that, if we built a few partnerships, we would have totally won this game. 247 is not a big score.
It's definitely about building partnerships. And I think that's where that mindset is coming in, that everyone is geared towards a T20 innings. I'm not sure why, but maybe it's because of the PSL ending, just not too long ago. Everyone is in this T20 zone where they want to hit some runs and get out. And again, 20 runs, 25 runs, they're not going to help us at all. If you look at England's innings, the 8th wicket partnership was for 100 runs. That's amazing. That speaks volumes, and we couldn't do that.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
That's what we need to focus on. It's not a T20. You have about 50. Well, today you had 47 overs to bat, but take it deep and build an innings.
Yeah,
we're not looking for just a few boundaries.
It's about the mindset, isn't it? You have to have that sort of mindset, which you saw from South Shakil, so that's a positive. But chalo, let's move on to the next section. All right, I really want to talk about the captaincy by both captains, Babar Azam and Ben Stokes, and how they were different and who did what right and who messed up where. Let's go to Babar first. I mean, generally, you never thought of Babar as a natural leader, but I think it was a good move to elevate him as captain because all the big batsmen in the world are captaining their teams, and Babar will only grow, and he's the sort of person that everyone in the team respects, and he sets the tone for fitness and consistency. So I'm all for that. He is learning day by day, and he's had a fantastic start to his test career as captain. And he hasn't been too bad. But there were a few things today that I wasn't too happy with. Ek to, it wasn't attacking enough for me. I remember Haris Rauf drew the edge of Phil Salt and there was no slip. Whereas Ben Stokes, ko agar aap dekho, to he had a slipper all the time throughout the game. Very attacking captaincy, brilliant to watch. At one point, I think he had 4 slips for someone, which is amazing. It's great to see that in ODI cricket. And really, he had Pakistan under the pump and didn't let them breathe. You didn't see that thing from Babar's captaincy, and even though he rallies his men well and is growing in the role, and I totally support his captaincy, I think he wasn't attacking enough today, and really, if he was, we might have bundled England out for maybe under 200 or something.
Just to answer the 4 slips, that was for Babar Azam, when he had the 4 slips. So absolutely, spot on points there. Lekin, I think we need to be a little more realistic with the captaincy of Babar. He's, no doubt, top batsman right now, one of my favorites. Lekin, we can't keep giving this sort of leeway that, he's going to nurture into this role, or he's going to become a nice captain, These things need to happen now. They should have happened maybe last year, and maybe they should have happened 6 months ago. It should be done by now. If you look at Ben Stokes, he's been asked to captain this side, a week ago? 5 days ago? What was it?
2-3 days ago, man. Yeah.
2-3 days ago, and he was given a team which was just decided 2 days ago that, okay, you have these players, here you go. And the way he's rallied them together, the way he is attacking on the field, you can tell he's going for the win. He's not loud, he's not very overly aggressive the way we had Kohli in his early days. He's composed, but you can see the aggression in his actions.
And in his field settings are always aggressive. And
Amazing.
I'm a massive fan of Ben Stokes. I just love the body language he brings to the game. He plays the game in the right spirit. He's a fierce competitor, and he gives the opposition respect too. So I think England have Joe Root and Eoin Morgan who are captaining their different teams. But Ben Stokes as a stand-in captain is an absolutely fantastic option. Really impressed with what I saw today.
Exactly, and that's what we should be aiming for. When we look at Babar's captaincy, we're seeing shades of Misbah, which I think is gonna be damaging for Babar, because if you want Babar to captain, then let Babar captain. If I can see or spot shades of Misbah in this, then I'm not overly happy with the way management is having Babar, captain the side and have a go at this, because either let him be and then become his own captain with his own decisions and everything. But this sort of influence, I think, is damaging sort of Babar's credibility as a captain.
I'm not sure how much of an influence Misbah has on his captaincy, but we all know Misbah's mindset is always don't lose the game first, and then you can go on to win it. And we've seen that throughout his own captaincy, and maybe some of that influence is going into Babar. I'm not too sure, but let's give him some time. I think it's too early to make drastic calls. So let's give Babar some time, and we'll
Absolutely.
see how he progresses as a captain.
Absolutely, and the thing is, some things that worked in Misbah's era for Misbah might not necessarily work for Babar. Things have evolved and changed, which is, I think, everyone should realize that.
Yeah. In the last section of this volume of CRIQAZI Diaries, I just want to talk about potential 11s, both mine and Malik's potential 11 for the final ODI at Birmingham in this series. And even though we've lost the series, England have taken an unassailable lead of 2-0. It does matter because you're in the ODI championship and every win has a certain amount of points allocated. And through those points, you can avoid going or playing the qualifiers when the 50-over World Cup comes up. So I don't think it's one of those games where you just try out your bench or something. I think you've got to play your proper 11. And for me personally, I think I'll only make one change. I'm also kind of in between for that. But based on what we saw from Fahim, I'm not too sure if he can open the bowling, and Hassan, I don't think should. So I'm going to go in with Hasnain for Haris Rauf so that he can open the bowling with Shaheen Shah Afridi. And I mean, Hasnain has pace too. Haris does too. So I think it's almost a like-for-like replacement. Only difference is that one of them is a new ball bowler in Hasnain and the other one is a death bowler in Haris. So that's what I'll go for.
Okay, that's good. That's a good change.
And one more thing. I will change the order up. I would have Maqsood at 4, South Shakil at 5, and Rizwan at 6. Okay, go ahead.
Good enough. That's good. For me, I'm once again, I reiterate the fact that I'm a Haris Rauf fan, and I've been a fan since I saw him first. But I think he needs to be resting for the final ODI, just because he's all over the place at this time, and maybe he's not being utilized. But he needs to work hard, come back. So I would pick Hasnain for Rauf, but I would also do one more change. I'll actually sit Rizwan out and bring Sarfraz in. So, Sarfraz is someone, we've seen his attitude. He's hungry for the game. He wants to play, right? So we've lost to Rizwan's, failed twice, which is fine. So it's not to demotivate him. He's going to be playing T20s, test matches. He's a stellar keeper. But Sarfraz, because solely I want to see what he offers at this point. Give him a chance. He's in the squad and he's been scoring as well. He's got a positive attitude. He has a good record playing in England as well. So why not give him a chance? Yeah,
I mean, I'm not totally opposed to that. But yeah, I think I still would play Rizwan. I want to see Rizwan at 6, man. I really think he can do in ODI cricket what he's done in Test cricket over the past year or so. But then if you do play Sarfaraz, do you play him at 4, 5, 6? Where do you play him?
See, he's someone who can take that number 4 spot if need be, even though I wouldn't put him there. I'd probably go with, your suggestion of having Maqsood at 4. But if you do send Sarfraz up there, you have a slight bit of more reliability that, okay, this guy can run a ball, literally just drop the bat and run. And, just bat out a few overs before he gets going or gets hitting, just what Sarfraz usually does. And he's good at that. So 4 or 5, I wouldn't mind, to be honest.
Okay, interesting picks. And I guess that wraps up this volume. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that bell icon over here, which will notify you about my latest videos. Thank you so much, Hatib, for joining me in this CRIQAZI Diaries volume. And all of you have a good day. We'll be back soon after the third ODI.